Okay, so I'm going to show you how to unpack this week's large share. And this week's share is amazing. There's so many great things. I'm really excited. So first of all, there's cherry tomatoes. These are already in a nice little box. In our house, cherry tomatoes do not last long at all. So these will probably be gone by tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave them out on the counter. But if you think you're not going to eat them right away, you can keep them in the fridge because they can start to get mushy if you leave them out on the counter too long because they're so small. This big tomato though is definitely sitting out on my counter. I keep it in a bowl on the counter, and we'll probably eat this in the next few days because let's be honest, tomatoes do not last long in our house at all. Cucumbers, I'm gonna throw these just right in the hydrator drawer, and they're gonna keep there pretty well. I'll probably use these, sometime in the next week or so. Chives. Now, the way that I store chives is to kind of treat them like flowers in a vase. So I'll just fill up a glass or a jar with some water, and I will just keep them in there. And this whole thing will go in my fridge. This is going to keep them nice and fresh for quite a while. Okay. Oh, another cucumber. This is also going in my hydrator drawer with the others. Onions. Also in my fridge, also in my hydrator drawer. I have two hydrator drawers in my fridge, and I usually use one where I keep things like zucchini and peppers and cucumbers, and then I've got another one where I keep things like onions and potatoes and things like that. I can kind of adjust the settings a little differently in those, so these I want them to be kept a little bit cooler, and I will use these a little bit later in the week. Summer squash and zucchini also are just going to go right in the hydrator drawer. Again, kind of like cucumbers, they tend to get mushy if you don't use them pretty quickly. So I'm going to prioritize to use these earlier in the week. Same goes with eggplant. Hydrator drawer, but if you're not careful, they tend to get mushy. Also, any of these things that tend to go mushy fast, with the exception of cucumbers, you can chop up. What I do is chop them up, spread them out on a baking sheet, throw them in the freezer, and then once they're frozen, throw them all in like a big Ziploc bag and store them in the freezer. And that way, if you're not sure you're gonna get to them before they get mushy, you'll just have them in the freezer, and they're great to throw into like soup or stir fry or something like that, or pasta sauce. Delicious. All right, corn. I'm gonna keep this in the husk right until I use it. I don't think it is very good if you take the husks off beforehand. So I'm gonna keep it in the husk. I'm gonna keep it in my refrigerator, and I'm gonna try to get to this as soon as possible because I love fresh sweet corn. This is such an amazing box. Another zucchini, we talked about that. It's going in the same place, hydrator drawer with the others. All right, peppers. So these are frying peppers, and I'm also going to keep those in the hydrator drawer with my summer squash and cucumbers and all those good things, and they'll keep pretty well for about a week. Same goes for these lovely jalapenos. I'm a big fan of spicy things, so these probably won't last long either, but they will stay in the hydrator drawer with the other peppers. And last but not least, we've got this beautiful watermelon, and that is going to go right into my fridge. Or I might start on the counter for a couple of days if I don't have room, but then it'll go in the fridge if we haven't eaten it. One thing that I have recently discovered that is great to do with watermelon, because they can be a lot, is to kind of like I was talking about before, chop it up into pieces, spread it out on a baking sheet in the freezer and let it freeze, and then throw it in your blender, and it makes an amazing watermelon slushy, which is super refreshing on a hot day and is my new obsession. I have bags of frozen watermelon in my freezer, so that might be what this guy is destined for this week. Either way, what an amazing box this week. I am super excited to get cooking with all of it.